Hello, welcome to another Mechanic Matt video. Today I'm looking at a Volkswagen Touran. This one's got a problem with the charging. The alternator's not charging. I'll show you how I'm going to test it. So if I press this, it's connected to the battery. I'm going to turn that noise off first. I always prefer to do it without the noise. 12.4 volts. Right, let's start the car. Let's see what's charging at. 12. Now, if I blip the throttle, it started charging. But if I don't blip the throttle, it doesn't do that. So the alternator can charge. Now I'm at the alternator here. I've unplugged the small wire, and you see it's kind of like the shape of a letter D. There's a flat side and a curvy side. Now this curvy side should have 12 volts with the ignition on, and it's not. So I'll show you that in the car. I'm going to plug it in and then back probe it through these wires here. Right, that plug is plugged back in down there, and I've got the two back probes into it with the little wires bringing it out to here. And I'll show you what I've got there. 0 volts on the one that should have 12 volts because it's got the ignition on. And I'll go into the other one and show you what I've got there. Oh, it's upside. So the next one's 3 volts on this side. I got it changed to a scope setting because this usually has a pulse width pattern, so I wanted to show that on the scope, but at the moment it's a flat line, but only 4 volts. So we're going to check the wire further down, because the wire will loop down here through that clamp. There's the big wire that goes to the alternator here with the big nut, the one that charges the battery, and then the two smaller wires all go through this plastic thing. So I'm going to move the airbox out and do some tests there. Okay, looking down here, I've removed the airbox that would have been there. Looking into this, I've got this plug right down here by the radiator, and I don't know if you can see it. One of those pins is bent over. Let's see if we can get in there. See that pin near my thumb there, thumbnail? That's bent, and it's actually pushed this side into there, so it's lowered down on the same one there. So I'm just going to do a test here and see if I can bypass this quick and see if the car charges properly. Push the block connector back together for now. Back probed it on the same wire that I was checking over here at the alternator, the one on the curvy side that should have power when the ignition's on. And you see we've got 11.1 volts back probed in the same wire. So what I'm quickly going to do is put a jumper wire between this back probe that's still in at the other end, at the curvy side of the plug, and this one, and see if this charges okay. So we know the break in the wire, we know there's a problem with the plug, first of all, but I'm going to have to check that little bit of wire is okay that goes from the plug to the alternator. But for now I've got this little wire in, bypassing it. Don't know if I've shown that, if not I'll just show it again. And I'm going to sit in the car and start it and see whether it charges without me hitting the throttle. Okay, so I'll start the car, press this, and it's charging straight away, so that proves that's going to work if we find the break in that wire. That's what I did with the wire, joined it up. I don't know if I've shown you that, but it's just going back probe into the block connector there, and into the curvy side of that pin there. There's 2 wires that go to the alternator through this big thick cover that's just a cover over some wires. 2 wires go to the alternator, 2 go down to the AC compressor, and then there's the big wire that'll come up here to charge the car. Or actually I think it's going to the fuse box first, but that's going back to the battery to charge the car. Now I've just got to find the break in the wire. Okay, so I'm using this, what's it called? Circuit tester. And if I follow the green wire, we get a bleep, and then follow it down into the wire that I was at, I still get the bleep, but it stops right in this corner. Right there. starts again and stops. I don't know if it's just having trouble picking it up behind this black cover, but it seems to be there. So what I'm going to do is just put this circuit tester in the other end of the same wire and see if it goes to the same bit. I think we found it here, a bit of green stuff right there where my thumb is. I'll see if I can snap that. Yeah, so that just snapped. There's a problem. I'll join that together. I've got another problem with this pin there that's badly damaged, so I don't know whether I'll join that or just do a bypass to like jump this plug totally and go into the other side of it. I might just do that this time. There's the wire that I put in, a blue one, because the original was blue. Underneath the black wire it was blue anyway. Soldered and heat shrunk, and the same on this side. So it's just bypassing that bit and going down to where the wire was. So I'll put the bit back into the conduit there, cable tie that up, and put it back to where it should be and build it up and check that it charges properly. That's it back together now. So what I'm going to do is start the car. I'm not going to hit the accelerator pedal. I want to see if it charges without that. So I've not hit the accelerator pedal. I'll turn that noise off because I hate that noise. But yeah, as you can see, it's charging. What I want to do now is go to the alternator and show you the other side of it, the other side of this plug, because there was two wires. I've only talked about one wire. We'll go and see what the other one's doing so you know. But remember, it's the curvy side of the pin where it bends. That side should have should be battery voltage with the ignition on this. Now I've done an alternator on one of these before, or a Volkswagen before. Only had one wire. That's different. That was a LIN bus. That doesn't get 12 volts with the ignition on, it's LIN bus. Now that's a different one, but there's only one wire. The plug still looks the same, like it could have two, but only one of those pins had a wire on it. Different job. But that was the same thing though. If you started the car and you revved it, it started to charge. But that's slightly different, but the same sort of diagnostics, finding the break in the wire. Now we're just going to go and see what's happening on the other wire that I haven't shown you now. It just pulses on and off. I don't know if you can see it. So that's all that wire does. That one's going to the engine ECU, and the other one's going to, I think it's the central electrics. The wire we fixed goes to central electrics. The wire with the pulse goes to the engine ECU. If you disconnect this plug, it stays at 12 volts. If you disconnect it from the alternator, when you plug it in, it starts to pulse. That's something else. Hopefully this is helpful for somebody. Thanks for watching. If you need any auto electrics or diagnostics, and you live in Cornwall near St. Austell, give me a ring. Thanks for watching.